This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by
Connections Restored, helping people who have suffered from trauma, PTSD, and addictions. Connect with us at connectionsrestored.com. Connections Restored.
This is Amy Boswinkle. I'm an intuitive and a transformational life and business coach, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys today for episode 35 of Connections Restored TV. Oh my goodness. Today I want to talk to you guys about the ending of a chapter in our life and the beginning of a new one, right? And the pain that sometimes we can feel when one door closes, and how we maybe sometimes get caught up in the emotion of, oh my gosh, look at everything that I'm losing, look at everything that I've lost, instead of seeing the opportunity of the new beginning, right? And I'm not saying this because I want to take away from a grieving process, because sometimes when we're closing one chapter of our life and we're about to turn the page and begin a new chapter in our life, we're about to write that new story in that new chapter, it can take us through a whole range of emotions, right? We can feel really sad, we can feel really angry, we can feel really frustrated, we can feel a lot of grief, we can sit in judgment, right? We can go to that place of looking at all the things we did wrong and what could we have done better and where is this going to go? But what I've learned in my own life is that every ending is really just the place where a new beginning gets to start. And that new beginning will require us to shift into a different identity, right? We have to shift and evolve into a new identity of ourself, a stronger identity of ourself, the identity of ourself who has learned the lesson, right? Because if there's anything that I've learned on this journey is that when I turn and I look at my past and the experiences that I've walked through in my life, there is a version of me who looks back on that and has remorse and guilt and feels horrible and lives in a lot of shame and fear and wants to run away and hide and wants to continue to hide in that identity of not good enough, not being able to show up in the world as another human being who has a story and has amazing traits to me and has horrible traits to me. It just depends on the person, right? All of our traits are in the eye of the beholder, and our heart may think, this is how I'm trying to express myself, and why do people perceive me one way? And we get to play with those sorts of things as chapters end in our life. And we get to grieve the process, and we get to live in those emotions, and we get to travel to this place I call the silence, right? The silence can sometimes, some people call it the void, right? Where we arrive at this place, this black hole that seems so huge, and it seems like it's never ending in front of us. And really what I've learned is that's the place where you just you walk into it, and it's a space that we don't always know, we don't always recognize, we don't always understand fully until we start to walk in it, and it is scary. But that new version of you, as you travel forward and allow yourself the silence of walking into what's next, not knowing, right? It requires a level of bravery for us to walk into this, because the subconscious mind is always looking for proof and evidence that things are going to work out for us. And the truth is that when we're walking into a new space, when we're walking into a new chapter, there's no proof or evidence that things are going to work out for us until we have practiced enough walking into that space and allowing that space to just kind of emerge and immerse into our own energy, and we get to play in that energy, and we get to explore that energy, and we get to ride the wave with that energy. And then, right, when we remember the story that we created, that next chapter, that new identity, that braver version of us, that version of us that has more inner peace, that version of us that has more grace, that version of us who doesn't argue as much, that version of us who doesn't judge other people as much, whatever version of you that is, we get to be in that space, and we get to explore that identity, and we get to connect with the higher frequency of that realm, right? Because we're always calibrating to the version of us that we truly desire to be. And a lot of people on this planet will say repeatedly over and over and over again that they want to be this different person. Yet they're not willing to take any action to become that person. They're not willing to change their behavior. They're not willing to step into an identity, or they shift into that identity for a short period of time because they've been in the silence enough to where their energy feels full and they have new insight, and it feels really good because that fresh energy does allow bursts of energy, right? But they don't know how to maintain that frequency because they haven't practiced enough. So they start to fall and revert back into that old version of themselves. It happens to people all the time. I witness it all the time. I witness it with myself. I witness it with my clients. I witness it with people in the world. I talk to people every day. Every day I talk to people. And in my messenger on Facebook, via text, through email, I'm responding to messages from people every day. And it's such a blessing and such a gift to be able to be this person who can help witness somebody's life and help give them little tidbits of experience, because I've walked a path of pain, because I've walked a path of shame, because I've walked a path of not good enough and hating myself for many, many years, hating myself so bad that I ingested alcohol, I ingested drugs, I ingested self-hatred, I ingested to the point of numbing out because I didn't know how to deal with my life, nor did I want to. It was too overwhelming, it was too big, there were too many emotions, there were too many people pointing fingers at me. And it felt bad disappointing people all the time. When I would be sober and they'd be, you should, and at first they were kind about it, and the more I messed up, the angrier they became, and the more the finger pointed, and it just felt so bad. I just wanted to keep running away and hiding because I hated who I was. It got to the point to where I wanted to die, and I multiple times in my life tried to commit suicide and ended up in psychiatric wards, trying to kill myself in the psychiatric ward, to the point where I had to get injections to put me to sleep, and they would handcuff my hands and my feet to the hospital bed so I couldn't hurt myself. And I'd be, handcuffed to the bed, not being able to move, not restricted, chained, a prisoner, not only to my own emotions and my own mental well-being, right, but literally a prisoner to my physical body, right? Like being able to have the freedom to move and make decisions and choose what food I wanted and choose to go to the grocery store or stay home or take a nap or go and exercise or whatever, right? I took away all those choices for myself. But as I started to heal, and as I started to wake up, and as I started to walk into that void, as I started to walk into the silence, and I allowed myself that grace, and I allowed myself to witness with clarity, see myself in the mirror, who I really was, and I was honest. I was very honest with who I saw. I started to break all these chains inside of me, and I started to create new behaviors that allowed me a sense of freedom in a way that I had never had before. And I started to gain happiness in a place that I thought I would be sad forever and ever. And that was the farthest thing from the truth, right? Because my thoughts were creating my external reality, because when I was sad and thought life wasn't going to go on, that's all I saw. But when I was willing to see myself as clearly as I possibly could, and I was willing to take an honest inventory of my life, and I was willing to look myself in the eyes in the mirror and admit, these experiences, what were the teachers, right? Not judge myself, but just look and say, look at the choices that I chose. Look at the path and the route that I took. What did I learn? What can I learn from this? And it wasn't about dismissing the feelings and stuffing them down, those feelings of self-hatred, those feelings of frustration, those feelings of sadness, those feelings of grief, those feelings of shame, those feelings of guilt, those feelings of fear. It wasn't about stuffing it down. It was about allowing them to come up. Because what I found is, when I'm working with people, a lot of times their emotions are stuck in their heart chakra, right? Because the heart chakra harbors stuck, repressed emotions. And people are trying to talk, right? So they're trying to get those emotions up into their throat chakra so they can express it out into the world. But the world has judged them too much, so they don't feel safe sharing their truth. They feel too different. They feel too ostracized. They feel they feel like they've been given advice over and over and over again, and advice shuts us down. As much as it's coming from a really good place, right? As much as advice is coming from a really good place with most people, I'm not saying everybody, it shuts people down because it's another form and another way of being like, you're still not good enough because this is what you should be doing, right? And what I found is that when you ask the right questions of people, when you get them to communicate in a different way, when you get them to literally start to shift their language, it opens up a part of their brain that most people don't utilize enough, and that is the cerebellum in the back of the brain rather than the prefrontal cortex, right? And it allows them to make connections and allows them to explore the truth within themselves in a new language, in a new form, right? Because the study of communication and the study of language and the energy of words, it's so profound. To be able to shift your language, to be able to shift how you speak, to be able to shift how you communicate, and to allow those stuck, repressed emotions to be expressed through the throat, out of the mouth, and allowing them to have a space to be seen and to be heard and to be explored, rather than saying, this is what you need to do, this is the right thing to do, this is what I see, right? And I know it comes from the best of places, and I've done it many times to people. But what I've learned is when I take that step back and I allow people to express their truth without judgment, because they're not wrong, because that's their truth. That's their belief. That's their life experience. That's their behavior. Those were their choices that elicited the emotions and the space that they have arrived at in that moment. And we just become curious. And we ask the right clarifying questions so that we can gain awareness and we can shift the communication. We can shift the perception. We can shift the belief system. It changes everything. We no longer become afraid of being in that silence. We no longer become afraid of being in that void. And maybe at first we do because we just haven't practiced enough being there. But when we practice enough, we know we're there. And does that mean that the fear or the reaction is going to go away entirely? Not necessarily, and maybe so. Everybody's different. And the level with which we arrive at the end of our lifetime on this planet, because nobody's guaranteed when their end date is, As long as we continue to show up fully and authentically and honestly as we can and not judge ourselves, and we can shift belief, shift the behavior, shift the identity, and stand fully in our power and just say, this is me. This is who I am. This is my truth. This is my expression. This is my soul. This is what I'm here to say. We connect with the right people. We get to move forward. We get to be propelled forward. We'll navigate and calibrate into a higher frequency, and the universe will always put the exact right people on our path that we're ready for. So sometimes when we say we're ready for something, but we are not ready to take the new action, to create the new behavior, to be in that new energy, it's just an idea that we think is great, right? There's two spaces that I recognize all people are in. There's one space where people say, I'm ready, and I'm going to go to any length to have what I want, no matter what anybody else says, no matter what they think, no matter what they do, no matter what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up, and they do, right? Those are like the really amazing people, and you're like, oh, right? The complete and total transformational stories. And then there's other people who cry wolf one too many times. I want to do this, yet maybe they start to create change in their life, but they revert back, and it keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And we start to not believe that. And so we start to have beliefs and perceptions about that person. And then that person, if we are expressing our beliefs and our perceptions to that person, they start to believe that too. And then they shut down, and they numb out, and they continue to be that person that they once were. Because what we're literally doing is we're shutting down their energy. We're shutting down their auric field, right? Like we're literally shrinking them down. We're suffocating their soul. We all arrive when we arrive. We all arrive when we arrive, and that's just the truth. And I wish that I could wave a magic wand over everybody who who they say that they want change, but really it's just an idea that they like. They're really not really ready to go to any length to have what they want. And I know that there are a lot of people on this planet suffering right now. A lot of people suffering right now. And that maybe to some people these words sound too simple. Maybe to some people these words sound way out in left field. Maybe to some people these words are hitting home and completely and totally making sense. No matter where you are with this conversation, no matter where it's bringing you to, and your level of beingness on this planet, your level of evolution, you're not alone, right? There's this sense deep down inside of us. If we go and allow ourselves to connect, right? Like not just be in our logical thinking, but we allow ourselves to go into the heart and not think, but just kind of feel with the energy of the heart, right? We're not alone. We're all in this together. And there are people out there like me with outstretched hands saying, hey, you know what? If you're suffering, I'm willing to have a conversation with you. I'm willing to provide certain tips to help get you on your path. And if I believe, based off of my professional experience, that working in a program is what is going to benefit you the most, then I'm going to suggest that, because I know that that's what worked for me, right? We can only get so far with free information if there's no skin in the game, if we aren't willing, right? If we weren't willing to go to somebody and get the right system, the right support, and the right accountability to keep us on track and put some skin in the game. we're not going to change. We're going to continue to live in our stories, continue to live in our lower vibrational, emotional frequencies of shame and fear and guilt, right? Shame, guilt, and fear. 3 really low emotional vibrational frequencies that keep people stuck. Those frequencies are below 200 hertz. People can't even understand the concept of change until they've hit 200 hertz, which is the vibrational frequency of courage. People aren't even ready. They won't even do anything. They'll be asleep. They'll be stuck in their story. Anything below 200 hertz, right? And shame and guilt and fear are really low vibrational frequencies. 100 hertz, 40 hertz, and 20 hertz, right? Shame, 20 hertz, guilt, 40 hertz, and fear is 100 hertz. People stuck in those frequencies, they're asleep still. They're asleep. And I have nothing but empathy for that because I was asleep for a long time. But when we're in the right energy and we hear the right words and the right frequency at the right time, in the exact right moment, what I have learned is that aha moments can come at the drop of a hat, like that. And that there are people on this planet who are coming to light and getting seen in ways that they were never seen before. Allowing the value exchange to be seen. And that was the calling in my heart. For 368 days in a row, I had hidden so much in my life. I had hated myself so much. I believed I wasn't worthy of living. I hid. And I had to heal the wound of hiding. So for 368 days in a row, I committed to showing up and doing 1 Facebook Live video a day, and I did it. 30 days ago, about 32, 34 days ago. And after those 368 days, I had to take reprieve. I've had about 32, 33, 34, somewhere right in there, days of reprieve from showing up on video. And I needed it because it took a lot of energy to do that, but it's what I felt the calling in my heart, to heal the wound of being seen. Because I know the experiences that I've walked through can shift another life. Whether that's me just showing up and allowing another person to watch this video, right? Which will be around forever. And this is, free information that I'm sharing with people because my heart loves so much. My big heart just loves so much that I want to continue to share. Or whether that a person out there chooses to go into a deeper immersion, a deeper activation, a deeper healing, a deeper awakening, and become that new identity that they really want to shift into and become empowered. No longer be that person they once were, but really become a completely different version of themselves just by communicating different words and allowing some of those stuck, repressed emotions to express themselves out, to allow the healing to occur so that we can, heal the energetic body and put the endocrine system back into balance so that we can allow the internal DNA to heal at a deeper level, because we're going to be making better choices from this standpoint, right? Because when we're making better choices with the foods that we choose to put in our body and the type of energy we want our body to have, when we're drinking enough water, when we're exercising enough, right? When we're taking care, like we glow, right? Our skin starts to glow. Our eyes come back to life. We completely shift. We don't even look like ourselves anymore. Sometimes I've even witnessed people's face shift and change. But the light comes back on and you start to glow, right? And it's as simple as choosing those things. Water, food, exercise, meditation, breathing practices. What an amazing world we live in. What an amazing world. So what I know is there are a lot of people suffering on this planet, and I have a lot of empathy. I look out and I witness, and like I said, I talk to people. And what a gift and a blessing you all are to me. And to be able to share the experience, strength, and hope that I've learned on my brief journey on this planet is just such a gift. And it's an honor. So when we're closing one chapter, no matter what that is, you know what that is. I don't, but I know that you who are still watching, you know what that is. I know it may not feel very good right now, but right on the other side of that is the new beginning and the new chapter. And you get to write that story however you want it to go. You get to become the person that you always wanted to be. And all you have to do is start writing that story. I love you so much, friends. I hope you have an amazing rest of your evening. Thank you so much for your time. If you gain value from this video, please make sure you share it with your friends. Please make sure you like and follow the Bill and Callie Show here on Facebook. I am an affiliate of the Bill and Callie Show Network. Connections Restored TV is, and it is such an honor and such a blessing to be connected to such amazing people, such as Bill and Callie in this world. If you gain value from this video, please make sure you like and follow my business page, Connections Restored, here on Facebook. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel right now and make sure you hit that thumbs up. Send us a comment. Let us know how you like this. And if you have a topic you would like for me to talk with you guys about, reach out. Let me know. I'm happy to share. I love you all so much. Again, I'm Amy Boswinkle. I'm an intuitive and a transformational life and business coach. And it has been an honor to share episode 35 of Connections Restored TV with you tonight. Have a great time and evening. Time and evening. We all make mistakes when we speak, don't we? I love you all so much. Take care. We have to laugh at ourselves, don't we?
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by
Connections Restored, helping people who have suffered from trauma, PTSD, and addictions. Connect with us at connectionsrestored.com. Connections Restored.